purchased it in June of 2004. I went to the basement and I walked off the bottom step and took a step forward into what felt like a walk-in freezer. I felt what felt like 2 fingers being run down my back. And I stopped dead in my tracks.
It's possible Andrew and Abby Borden might still be lingering, looking for some kind of divine justice all these years later.
For the investigation, the house will be rigged with 7 video cameras, all feeding into one central location, recording activity all night into the pre-dawn hours. Al Rauber will record audio, looking for paranormal voices. And Dave Manganelli will shoot with a new state-of-the-art infrared camera, never before used in a paranormal investigation. The evidence collected throughout the evening might prove the existence of spirits in this house once and for all.
Okay, stop it now. Whoa, maybe back it. Why would this be so dark?
While paranormal investigators specifically try to prove the existence of ghosts, sometimes the most compelling evidence is captured by accident, by ordinary people shooting home video.
Every now and then, every few years, some piece of footage makes the news, like the kid who captured something at the Vatican in Rome.
This video was taken in 2006 inside St. Peter's Basilica by a tourist from Vancouver, and it turned up in a Canadian newscast.
Watch this vacation home video closely and carefully. Did you see it?
And right in front of the tomb here, it's all clear, and there'll be a ghost coming up.
You heard correctly. He said ghost.
Kind of see where the feet is.
It shows a strange robed figure hovering in the air.
Kind of looks like his head.
Videotape editor Shane DeBrasio examined the footage frame by frame.
It's definitely clear in this frame by the reflection of the light shows us that this jacket is being supported by a stick. There's a stick right there.
Tour guides often drape coats or scarves on long sticks to keep themselves visible to their tour groups. So the famed Vatican ghost isn't a spirit at all, but just a marker in a crowded tourist destination. A gas station in Palmer, Ohio was the location of another accidental ghost-like apparition caught on tape. It happened one night in 2007, appearing on video from one of the station's security cameras.
I honestly thought it might be a piece of dirt or when I first seen it.
But others called the blue figure a ghost.
You see it coming? I seen it actually flying into the camera system and stayed there for about 40 minutes and then moved from the standing position to the bottom of the screen.
It moves up and down and left and right, but it doesn't have any type of set pattern to it.
Mike Hammond, president of Automated Surveillance, installed the security cameras at the station in 2006. The cameras are infrared.
Infrared technology allows the camera to see in pitch black conditions, which humans cannot see with the naked eye.
Hammond will construct an experiment to see if he can manipulate the image to recreate the phenomenon himself.
Oh, actually, the infrareds have begun to kick on.
Why would there be ghosts at the site? Some have speculated that the station might be built on a Native American burial ground. But a town historian says no one has ever found one.
The records have shown that for 150 years prior to settlers coming, and that was in 1816 that the first settlers came, there were no Indians living in this area. They may have at one time. Most of them had been run out and run off and killed and the like.
Could there be another explanation? Are those who see ghosts merely seeing what they want to see?
Our sensory apparatus is certainly quite fallible and quite readily influenced by what we believe, what we expect.
Professor Michael Lyons has studied the psychology behind paranormal beliefs.
I think some people just are looking for answers, and other outlets in our society may not as readily provide those kinds of answers. People who are more anxious tend to believe in the paranormal. People who are more afraid of dying. Another trait associated with belief in the paranormal is intolerance of ambiguity. That is, people who need answers more are more likely to be the people who believe in the paranormal.
At the Borden house in Massachusetts, the search for new evidence is beginning. Al Rauber and Dave Manganelli arrive early to prepare for the night ahead. Paranormal activity has been reported throughout the house. In the basement, on the second floor, and more recently on the third floor, in the maid's room, and down the hall in the chimney room where a caretaker lived in the 1990s. Recently, there's been a surge of activity in that room.
The first time I could actually feel an unseen hand on me, that's when it was enough for me.
Tim Weisberg had his very first physical encounter with a haunting spirit in the chimney room.
My legs, which were draped over the side of the bed here, just started picking up on their own, and I could feel the hands enveloping around my ankles. And that's when I said, okay, wait a minute, that's not, the wind, that's not anything else, that's definitely, something picking it up and pulling.
In August 2007, Matt Moniz and his ghost hunting group were videotaping in the same room when one of their cameras moved by itself.
The camera turned at roughly a 45-degree angle. Now, when this happened, I thought maybe somebody had kicked the wiring to the camera, and she reset the camera back to its original position. She physically watched and heard the camera pick up and turn, focus directly back at her, with nobody else near it.
It did it again.
What?
It just moved again, and I heard it. I was right here.
I heard it.
Manganelli will spend some time exploring the chimney room with the FLIR thermal camera. It is the highest resolution handheld infrared thermal camera ever made.
All right, so this is the sofa on which Andrew was killed.
The camera is normally used by industry and the military to see heat energy invisible to the human eye.
We can't see in the infrared, but the camera can. So if it's giving off heat, the camera will spot it.
Now that can't be no well, it's nothing paranormal.
Robert Madding heads training for FLIR Systems, manufacturer of the camera. This model, the most sensitive of the FLIR cameras, is being used for the first time ever in a paranormal investigation.
So for people that believe that ghosts have substance, and if that substance has a temperature to it, then the camera has a possibility of picking it up.
People report being touched. People report hearing voices that they can't trace a source to. And then, of course, seeing things, which is the most rare.
According to accounts, Lizzie Borden's murdered parents are not the only ghosts here.
It's believed that the third floor is haunted by the spirits of two children.
Town history reveals that in 1848, in the house next door, another double murder took place in another Borden family. The mother of that family killed her two young children in the basement of the house.
They were drowned in a cistern on the Borden property, and today they're believed to possibly be haunting this house on occasion.
Another spirit that seems to be inhabiting our third floor is that of Michael. Michael was a former caretaker of the house, and he worked for the former owner. And not long after he moved out, it's said that he died in a fire out in Connecticut. He fell asleep smoking.
So 5 violent deaths. Are there 5 souls haunting this house? Can paranormal investigators Al Rauber and Dave Manganelli get the evidence to prove it?
You gotta listen to this. You tell me what it's saying.
The Lizzie Borden house has been a hotbed of paranormal activity ever since Lizzie's parents were murdered there. The investigation for new evidence is targeting several key areas in the building. In the basement, on the second floor, where the family's main bedrooms are located, and on the third floor, the chimney room where a caretaker lived, and in the maid's room down the hall.
Well, this is Bridget Sullivan's room, the Borden's maid at the time of the murder. And I had an incident one night. I was alone in the house. I came up here to sleep. And when I woke up in the morning, the first thing I noticed was that the little rocking chair that sits to the left of Bridget's bed here had moved around to here and was facing me like somebody was watching me sleep.
The Borden residence is unusual in that all the rooms on the second floor are connected without a central hallway. So Andrew Borden's room leads directly into his daughter Lizzie's room.
Well, certainly, since this is the Lizzie Borden house, I'd like to put a camera in here and keep an eye on things as we investigate.
Okay.
Outside Lizzie's room